Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Chronicles of the Thin Line. So, the reason I decided to make this page is because I'm pretty passionate about anything that involves either firefighting, on the medic. I have a lot of police friends, corrections, military, 911, you name it. And it's been a while since I've been on an ambulance, but I like to keep tabs with what's going on in pretty much any of the worlds. But I made this page for us, for the first responders, for anybody that's involved with one of the thin lines. You got the yellow line, which is communications. You got the blue line, which is police, red, fire, so on and so on. But today, I'd like to start off the podcast for a moment of silence for the 103 police officers that have died this year, 3 K9s, and 38 fire service members. Let's bow our heads. Let's remember the fallen. They're gone, but not forgotten. Alrighty, folks. So I'm going to start off with a couple of things. First thing I want to start off with is some good news. So I was going through a couple of the news articles, and I find, as being a volunteer, a lot of fire companies are very passionate about their district, about their area. It's their area. And over recent years, there have been fights on scenes. People, we're here to do the same thing. We're all here to save lives, protect property, and the environment that it's in. This is not a difficult situation type of thing. We are all here for the same reason. But I found out on March 6th, this happened in North Dakota, the Glenburn Fire Department suffered major damage to their fire department in a pretty big fire. And they were pretty much inoperable. But a lot of fire departments came together. This is what I find amazing, that we've donated money. Everybody donates a little bit of money to the fire companies, but there have been fire departments in this situation that have donated more than just a little bit of money, maybe just a little bit of gear. But the Burlington Fire Company, the Kenmar Fire Company, the Wing Fire Department, Ray, Tiago, and Mass Bass, they all donated gear and equipment. So kudos to you guys. Kudos. Very good. Now, the Columbus Department donated a 200,000 gallon tanker truck. And then the Wild Rose Fire Company, they donated a grass firefighting truck. And Velva, they donated a pumper tanker. Folks, this means a lot to these guys. And then you had the Williston Rural. They donated a fire engine fully equipped with gear as well as equipment. The chief of that company said that it was a fourth due engine. They were just looking to sell it, and he does not want any recognition. He said he just wanted to help out. The Mountain Trail County Sheriffs, they're offering communication radios. I know the Minot Air Force, they're donating some communication stuff as well. But this is the big one, folks. This is a big one. This is for all the people that have, a lot of money. Some are really stingy with their money, and some do things like this. Steve Varden of Varden Construction granted the use of a company equipment building in Glenburn and let them use it as a temporary fire station. That is big. They have a fire department that they can work out of. It's not exactly home, but it's a home away from home, at least till they get up on their feet. But this is true camaraderie, folks. Volunteers in or around anywhere have a lot of issues, especially in between each other. We all have heard of all kinds of crazy things happen on scenes. People going into each other's areas and getting donations and everybody getting all up in a roar. Guys, there's other ways about it. We all got to stick together. That's the most important thing. But the next topic on the list is a big one for me. And it comes into the fact of being a 911 operator. There are times that we are considered secretaries. There are times we are considered just somebody who answers the phone and pushes a couple of buttons and talks on the radio. Folks, I can tell you firsthand that is not how it works. There's a lot that goes in it. And we don't ever ask for any type of thank yous or anything like that. It is our job. I get it. But we're considered clerical in a lot of states. So I want to give a big shout out to the Newcastle County in Newcastle County, Delaware. They are now considered first responders. Now, why are we considered first responders? We don't respond. I get it. You're right. We don't respond. But if you go back just not too many years ago, when you would call 911, you would sit there and you would tell them what's wrong, and then they would just send somebody. You got no instructions. You couldn't help anybody unless you knew what you were doing. These days and age, folks, in a lot of areas, I can't account for every 50 states, every city, every town, but I could tell you the majority of the places when you call 911, we can give you life-saving instructions. You're right, we can't go to the scene, but we are technically the first responder. You ever call 911 because somebody was in cardiac arrest? What can we do? CPR instructions. Somebody overdoses, what do? We can give Narcan instructions. We can help a father or a neighbor or anybody deliver a baby over the phone. Yeah, mostly it's just catch, boom, there you go. But in some cases, when things hit the fan, we have these instructions to help you. And that's why I want to thank every district that have put in bills to consider us as first responders, as opposed to secretaries. Guys, if you think we're just secretaries, come step in a 911 center. And when you start answering call after call after call after call, one's a gunshot wound, one's this, one's that, you're doing CPR on infants, you have no time to even take a sip of water, then believe me, you'll consider us more than just secretaries, clerical. But anyway, that's besides the point. I want to get to the main topic tonight. And that was something that's really gotten under my skin. And that's the shooting of the 16-year-old girl in Ohio. Not necessarily her, because nobody deserves to die. Let me get that straight. Nobody deserves to die. But the thing that really gets under my skin is Mr. Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, Mr. LeBron James. Let me take that back. LeBron James. Two big stars, but definitely not in the same category. King James. You, my friend, are POS. You tweeted, but didn't have the kahunas to keep it up. You tweeted a picture of the officer involved in this shooting and quote, "You're next," with an hourglass and hashtag hashtag accountability. What did you want him to do? Yes, I understand there's a big thing going on with black people getting murdered by police. This is not one of them instances. This cop had a split-second decision. And I've heard all kinds of crap of what this cop should have done. If you read the internet and you go page to page about this, I've seen things about should have tased her, should have maced her, should have tackled her, should have shot the knife out of her hand. Folks, this is not a cartoon. This is not the Wild Wild West. This is not Hollywood. You don't shoot a knife out of somebody's hand. Goodness gracious. I don't know where you people come up with this crap. Shoot a knife out of somebody's hand. When have you ever seen this? Other than maybe, like I said, Hollywood. You shoot to eliminate the threat. Now, mind you, I'm not a police officer. I got plenty of police officer friends, though. And they will all agree with me. You shoot to eliminate the threat. Why not taser? Yeah, you have 100. Let's go over a couple of situations here. This is for you, LeBron. This is just for you. Let's go over a couple of situations. Let's say he comes up and the officer does absolutely nothing. Doesn't do anything. He watches her stab this girl. What do you do as an officer next? What do? You run up and then tackle her to the ground and then hope she doesn't turn around and stab you? Or maybe you know what? Let's shoot the knife out of her hand. Let's try that. And then you miss, and then you hit the neighbor's house, and then you kill an innocent person who's in the window watching the situation. Oh, better yet, let's pull out your taser. So when you taser, the knife comes down because this girl's gonna stab her in like the face. So let's taser. So come on. Maybe you could ricochet off of a building and it comes back and hits her in a shoe and she falls. Some people need to have their head examined, and LeBron, you are one of them. You need your head examined to even think about some goofy nonsense. And to make the comment, it is just absolutely insane. You were next. Is that a threat? Because, I'm pretty sure that if I threatened a police officer, I'd be in jail for threatening a law enforcement official. It's not necessary. You jumped the gun. He did what he had to do. He was on the force for 2 years. He's been on the force for 2 years. I'm pretty sure he did not wake up that morning and go, you know what? I think I'm just going to shoot somebody today. Sounds like a good idea to do. Sounds like I just want to just pop a cap in somebody. And I'm pretty sure he didn't want to do it to a 16-year-old kid who apparently had some issues going on. But here's the crazy thing. That whole fight started over keeping the house clean. And then a knife gets involved. That officer is truly a hero. He saved at least one, maybe not two, because who knows what she would have done if somebody would have tried to step in and break up the fight. It could have been anything. And then he takes the tweet down like a coward. That's what cowards do. You can't even stand up to what you say. My question is what is the NBA going to do? Because you're inciting violence. You know what they did to Donald Trump? They took him off all of Facebook, all of Twitter, all of everything for inciting violence. But then you put up this police officer's face, and now how does he feel? It's bad enough, I guarantee he's not getting any sleep at home. And this is what our police, our protectors of the blue line, have to deal with. Knuckleheads like him, who just couldn't keep his mouth shut. Guys, police have it rough out there. And when things like this happen, it doesn't affect just police, but it affects the people who are responding on the medic, on the fire engine, who have to come out and also try to save this girl. It's sad that anybody had to die in this. But they have it very, rough. I don't know what else to say other than they got it rough. I've been down that road of being on scene with a kid who's been shot. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. It was just to the leg. But nobody ever wants to go on any calls like that. And I can promise you, the police out there are not there just to shoot people. You can argue with me all you want. I am pro good cop. I'm anti bad cop. I'm anti bad anything, and I'm pro pretty much good anything. Because in every profession, there's good and there's bad. And for all the good cops out there, I'm sorry you have to deal with everything that's going on, from bad cops to bad guys to criminals to all the crap that you guys deal with. It's an absolute crazy world out there, and we all need to stick together. Everybody have a good night. I wanted to make this a short podcast tonight, but I do want one thing. For everybody who's watched, who is watching later, who is listening later. I want your opinions, and I want you to send me what you think that police officer should have done in that situation. The Thin Line Podcast at gmail.com. The Thin Line Podcast at gmail.com. I want to read what you guys got to say. I want to know your opinions on what you think that police officer in Ohio should have done when he pulled up and there is a female with a knife about to stab another female. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week.